Hi everyone. I bet you all thinking at the beginning, oh my God, here he comes again with his gay rights, his utopian politics, his anxiety attacks on speak freely. Well, perish the thought. Today I have decided to talk about her, my mum. Let's do things properly and let's present her to you. Her name is Maria de los Dolores Violeta Wood, de Soltera Camilleri, 93 years of age, a born and bred Gibraltarian, evacuee, and still going strong. And I'm Edward Joseph Wood, mid-50s, commonly known as Eddie, her only son, and heir to the throne, and first in the line of succession. The fact that I have been forever an only son has never been much of an issue. In fact, it was something that didn't bother me in the very least, leading a carefree life, much to the annoyment and envy of others. But suddenly, out of the blue, in a dull March day of 2003, my mum started having heart problems that led to a severe heart attack. All of a sudden, I found myself on a plane with her on our way to St. Mary's Hospital in London, and I clearly recall thinking to myself in that bloody plane, tearfully as Gibraltar disappeared into the distance, how the hell I was going to confront all of this alone. And I did. We stayed there for 2.5 months in a horrible, seedy hotel in Paddington, and in that time, a very unknown and obscure part of me emerged that to date, I have developed into a fine art. I learned not to be scared or intimidated by anything or anyone, to stand up on my own 2 feet. Didn't have much of a choice anyway. And to simply focus on that person that slowly but surely was becoming more and more dependent on you. That London experience was an eye-opener, making me realize that if you want something done, it wasn't going to come in a silver platter, making you stand on your own 2 feet and fighting for it the hard way. As time has gone by, I have been left with 2 options regarding my mum. 1, put her into full-time care and let the others do the job for you. Or 2, get a grip and get on with it. I have chosen the latter, and although I am a born complainer, rather well known for making mountains out of molehills, and a full-blown drama queen, regrets none. Every minute that I spend with Mum is all about making up for lost time in the past. Our house is run like clockwork, the envy of Buckingham Palace. More often than not, the inevitable clash of the titans erupts. We are a rather feisty couple, you know. And boy, does this give us an adrenaline fix like no other. But all ends well. Big hug and a kiss, and see you next time around. It's amazing how many things I have discovered that I'm capable of doing that never even crossed my mind that now I do out of sheer necessity. Please note that we are dealing here with a 93-year-old lady, bright as a spark, who doesn't do things by halves, vain in the nicest possible way, with an antes muerta que sencilla attitude that is totally beyond her control. I have learned how to cook far and beyond the humble fried egg that I used to break anyway, and helping out with the cleaning has become an absolute dream. I swan through the house with broom and mop, comparable only to a queen with scepter and orb in hand, with absolute composure, resigned to do a job that simply needs to be done. I'm an expert hair plucker. And even the toughest hairs cannot possibly resist my techniques with the tweezers. I have also taken with gusto doing makeup on my mum. Watching YouTube videos on the subject come in very handy, especially sorting out the dilemma between choosing between cherries of the Pacific and mother-of-pearl delights nail varnish, or deep plum or dusty cottage rose lipsticks. However, perhaps the biggest challenge that comes around occasionally is when I receive an invitation, and I'm charged with the unenviable task of looking for clothes for her. The priceless looks of sales assistants in utter confusion is something beyond description. When I start asking for size 18s and 40 double D cup bras, and the sighs of relief when I provide some background info. Life is a vicious circle. Our parents take care of us up to a certain time in our lives, and then after a certain time in our lives, we supposedly take care of them. And in my case, I can assure you that this is perhaps the biggest honor bestowed on me by myself alone. I use the word supposedly because many opt for the easier option, which is just as respectable, by the way, for others to take care of our parents. But at the end of the day, it is simply a matter of choice. Balancing work and mum can be a rather stressful affair. Every time the phone rings, I get this cold shiver down my spine. And when I phone home and she does not answer, oh my God, I just drop everything, get on my bike, rush down, only to find her radiantly sitting down, asking what the fuss is all about. Well, that's a drama queen in me, making an appearance. The hospital has become another regular. And I think we can all agree what a challenge our dear hospital can sometimes be. Endless appointments and prescriptions, the odd stay, dealing with some people who literally thrive in making our lives an absolute misery. My name is probably known for all the wrong reasons. However, on the positive side, my attempts as an amateur dispensing pharmacist are really gaining ground, you know. There is only one word that sums up this rather nicely, and that word is love. Most days when I wake up, I am enveloped in this feeling of, here we go again. But somehow, with the help of that only word, I get through the days without the slightest thought of how I'm going to make it to the next. I live with this feeling of when I'm going to be liberated, and in fear of the day when it finally comes. But my life is voluntarily on hold, and heavily involved in making my mum happy. However, when that freedom ever catches up on me, if it ever does, it will probably be too late to get my life back on track. But all is forgiven. I live on a day-to-day basis. And whatever the future holds for me, in all honesty, I don't give a damn. My priority is her quality of life. I just pray that whatever happens, it is my mum that passes away first. To the contrary, in less than 24 hours, she would be banished into exile. She would be, whilst I'm around, no fear, Eddie is here. And I am now the one that keeps this complex puzzle of life at home together. And I ain't doing too bad either. Who would have said, eh? There is one quote from the Bible, it had to come around, that I totally identify with when it comes to my mum. It comes from St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, verses 4 to 7, and it goes like this. Wait for it. Love is always patient and kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. Well, not in our case. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always hopes, always preserves. This is normally thrown at us by the priest at church weddings, and that we all tend to conveniently forget before we even get to the reception. But it would be extremely useful to perhaps put this into practice with elderly parents, if you have failed to do it with your partner. It isn't difficult, you know, and if I'm doing it, anyone else can for sure. Anyway, let me show you now another photo taken last summer. Oh, there it is. That's me and Mum dancing a Paso Doble. How true it is that a picture speaks 1,000 words. This is a true reflection of what it's all about in our case. Since I'm at it, wait for it, I may as well grab the opportunity and send a message to our government. I'm grateful for the assistance that I receive, but please do try to cut down on all this bureaucracy that goes with any request for extra home help. Sometimes I get this awful feeling that the whole intention is to bore me out of existence. But it ain't working. A 93-year-old is a 93-year-old, especially when they're still living at home. Not much room to maneuver. You see what I mean? Every bit of assistance is a blessing. But please do try to minimize on third-degree interviews and endless waiting times thereafter. This assistance is also about those in my situation, who stand alone, who are in desperate need of support, who are doing a very difficult job balancing work and play with all kinds of crap thrown at us, most of which are not even self-inflicted, but rather caused by the overzealous attitudes of others. I'll finish now on light-hearted notes that made me smile. The other day, I was having a groan and moan day at home, and Mummy was sitting on her throne watching Salvame. And I said to her, "Hey, Mum, you listening to me?" She gave me a very sly look, and she said, "No." That's the story of my life. Thank you very much.